What causes rhabdomyolysis? There are several things that can do that. It can be from extreme hot weather. So, like those road construction people you see working outside, farmers, things like that, that work in extreme heat. If they're not hydrating and getting rid of, um, the breakdown of these tissues um, on a daily basis throughout their day, they will have a buildup of this. Another thing that I've seen personally is where people fall and have like a crushing injury or a car accident where the steering wheel hits the chest and you have so many of those cells rupture. Being burned in a fire is another one. I did have somebody I knew who did extreme saunas, had never told me she was having any issues, went to an outdoor event where they got into little stone huts and did saunas out there, and she passed away in that hut, which it was later determined it was rhabdomyolysis.
And
So,
the saving grace for me, my doctor even said it, was my eating habit, my lifestyle of food intake, being a carnivore, really had a tremendous impact, I believe, on my fast track to recovery. And take it for what it's worth. I believe that had I not been on this diet, there would definitely be a different situation right now. So,
and we're going to go over numbers, how it happened, all of that, because we got more information. So in between time, I am G Brown, the lifestyle changer, and
I'm Frederick Brown, the husband.
And you are
Hanging
with the Browns. I said that a little better this time, because last time I was in a rut. So listen, I'm going to try and answer some of the questions. We got the computer, so we got the numbers, all right? First thing, we're carnivore.
Yeah,
You've been carnivore for?
449 days on today.
Yes, and that makes what for me?
447.
447, because I ain't start when he did.
15 months.
15 months.
Yeah.
There you go. And let you know that I am so thankful that you took this way of living and eating seriously, because this would be hanging with the Brown if we hadn't. So let's go back. Now I can be a little more graphic. I ain't gonna tell all your secrets. I ain't gonna tell you. Did y'all see his eyes? Well, it was really bad. So I want to talk to people who they want to know. This happened because you sat in heat. Oh wait, what is the name of this thing? Something rhabdomyolysis. Okay, and so when you research rhabdomyolysis,
rhabdomyolysis, yeah.
Right, you are a lot of times can start from a kidney injury, meaning like maybe car accident, or when they said that, I thought of football players, I thought of people who are into sports, I thought of people like that.
So, yeah, it's basically a muscle injury, pretty much, muscle tear, and it can come from strenuous exercises. You got people that train in the Olympics, even military guys. They're doing this extensive training, and then when you combine that with heat, that's a bad combination. It's a bad combination.
So the people that we're talking to are your outdoor workers, such as construction workers, lawn care, summer months, construction, whether it is housing, roads and bridges, you're part of the infrastructure, sports teams, all of the people who are literally outside. Go ahead.
No, you're right. No, I'm just agreeing with you.
Right, and I even think of this in the summertime. Heat advisories. They tell you about your elderly. They tell you about all of these. And when that was said, I said, I think I just witnessed a heat stroke. I really think that because of the spasms and all the other stuff that I witnessed. Okay.
Yeah, it's very important for you to realize when you're exposed to extreme heat, the damage you're really doing to your internal organs. Something that may not materialize immediately, but over time, it can have a detrimental effect on your body. And
So when you say time, because I'm gonna act like y'all, because I'm trying to eliminate, I want you to put the comments, but not some of the questions, because that's too much typing. So
yeah. And the thing is, I think last time I gave you an idea of how much exercise I really do, and basically I did that so to eliminate that what happened to me was caused by excessive exercise.
And I think that people heard it and said, okay, well, I exercised more than that. That's all he did? Yeah, you was looking kind of wimpy. That's all he did. Wait.
No.
Because one comment said, you only do push-ups?
No.
I know y'all was looking at these muscles. And
No,
wanna
but
know why.
the thing is, the problem is not so much that you overdo it. So let's say you start doing it, right? And you go from 0 to 100, pretty much. It's where the problem is. Not that it's something you gradually worked up to over a period of time, right? It's one of those, you've been doing no exercise and all of a sudden you just start doing things to failure. That could be a problem. You know, that's too much stress, internal stress.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with this show, but when you said that, when you said that, I thought about those that go into drug recovery and then all of a sudden they OD. That's because your body is one way and you went back to doing what you used to do. It was too much for the body.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
It is too much for the body.
Right.
All right, so with that being said, let's go over how long have you been adding extra heat to your body. Now, when I'm saying that, I'm talking, my husband does all the yard work, and I want to go outside at 7 a.m. He want to pick going outside at 12 noon to be like in the heat of.
Because I've always enjoyed being out in the heat. I didn't mind sweating. You know, when you sweat, that's your body's way of cooling itself off. But you also have to follow that up with hydration. You have to really stay hydrated. And sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't, or I would wait later to do it. And even then, prior to being a carnivore, I really didn't take in any electrolytes. So that was never part of my regimen for rehydrating or hydrating. And so, you know, I did expose myself a lot to heat, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed the cool down process. I enjoyed the entire process, not realizing what it was actually doing to my body. Now, not only working in the yard, we're talking hot baths, you know, especially when I'm home. Right, especially when I'm home. That's my way of relaxing, you know, is to wind down with, you know, several bottles of water and just allow my body to soak.
Okay.
And
I need to bring the people to that moment. Okay, most people soak, I know you soak in hot water, you don't have the extra bottles right there. Let's talk about some of the side effects that you can have because you didn't always hydrate yourself sitting there. You might have had a little bit of water, 1 or 2, but nothing to the degree of what we're doing now.
Yeah.
So I can just imagine you sitting there, you got your little glass of wine, got your book or your Kindle, right? So you're hydrating yourself with the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's number one. Now let's talk temperature and time.
Well, the thing is,
your
body temperature is, you know, basically 98 degrees, 98.6, thereabout. Some people a little less, some a little more. So, you know, exposing your body to, say, a jacuzzi, you know, typically it might be 100, 101 is what you might find at a hotel in some public places. And that's also accompanied with signs that says
20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah, 20 minutes max.
And they always put the button.
No alcohol, that kind of deal.
You get out of the jacuzzi to push the button.
Right. I think the cruise ship might be the only one that I'm going to feed you alcohol while you're in the hot tub.
Bring it to you, huh? Give me another one. But you know what I do notice?
Yes.
Some of them, well, especially if you have a drink package, they tack on a bottle of water. They'll bring you the water too.
Yeah, they will.
They will, because it's like, I think somewhere in their hearts and minds, they know. Okay. I want you to know that in this video, we are going to have a medical professional because somewhere it is I don't know.
Yeah, we're
This
not
is
medical professionals.
Right. We're just telling you what happened.
We're telling you what happened, our experiences with it, and I'm going to share with you my blood work data on
Yes.
a few critical blood test markers.
Yes. And okay. So I said, like, what do the kidneys really do? Most of the times when we hear about kidneys, we hear about diabetes. Those two things together. But your kidneys, they're filtered.
Yeah, it's a very complex filtration system, and it's pretty much designed to extract all of the pollutants and turn it into urine or send it to your bladder so you can urinate it out of your body, and that's pretty complex. That's my basic overview of what it does.
Okay, but for me, it's a little bit more. So I want you to, I like to take you on a trip. Okay, so in your normal blood sugar, which is normally about 80, that's about a teaspoon of sugar throughout your body. That's your normal blood sugar. You can wake up in the morning, sometimes you do, and if your blood sugar levels are higher than that, that means your kidneys are not filtering out the way that they should. Okay. So if that's supposed to be the amount, sweet tea, soda, Gatorade, wine, all of these things that I am naming that your kidneys have to filter out. Now you're going to put in some cakes, pies, cookies, chips. That's more sugars that the kidneys have to filter out. And you're doing this, pastries, first thing in the morning, orange juice and a bran muffin. Your kidneys have to filter that. And I'm just thankful that mine are still working, because I'm naming foods that I used to eat. Your kidneys are trying to do that. Now, I'm gonna get Laura, Nurse Laura, to explain what happened with Frederick's body, okay? What happened with his body during that, and you can kind of understand how the blood vessels opened up, how these things got over into it, and how he ended up in kidney failure. My husband was soaking in the tub, and how hot was your water, and how often?
Well, I like I said, anywhere from 4 to 6 days a week, typically. Sometimes maybe more, it depends. Probably more even in the wintertime when I'm really trying to warm up, if it's cold. I like that. It's a process of also warming my body up. The issue is I'm normally submerged for longer than 20 minutes, and typically it's about an hour minimum. It's about an hour minimum. I do have my clock set to alarm, and that's when I start the regimen or process of trying to cool my body down by adding cold water to mix in to implement a cool down process.
Yeah, so prior to carnivore, he wasn't doing those things. So he was younger and the body was kind of bouncing back, but early signs. Him coming out of that bathroom, falling out, talking about, bring me some water, and trying to fan.
Yeah.
And turn the ceiling fan on, body clammy. Think that, here's some of you actually fall asleep in the tub. You thinking you so relaxed, boo-boo, you passed out. That's what you did. That's not normal to sit in water and all of a sudden doze off. No, you have passed out. You wake up. So these are different things that take place. Now, on July 25th, my husband was already not feeling too well, but you figured, let me relax. This time he didn't stay in the water as long, all right? So we went through our regimen. He had his extra bottles of water sitting on the side. He had his hot water going, and he knew to turn his cold water on. So he's leaned back, and all of a sudden, I hear, he'd been in there for a while, so I'm finna give you my version of the story. He had been in there for a while, his norm, but I heard like a thump. And now I'm watching television, so I kind of lowered the television. I'm listening, and I called his name. His reply, he was out of breath. Because this literally took the wind out of him. All right. So I open the door and vomit is everywhere. But it did not, because he's carnivore, I don't know, he had ate way early in the day. So what was coming out of him, it wasn't like it had a horrible smell. You just knew it was vomit because you can see where it was coming from. It was brown. And it was kind of like everywhere. And so I opened up to him across the tub. He's out of the water and vomit is everywhere. And I'm like, what is going on? And he's asking me to bring him like water. He needs to, like, where's the trash can? Because he's looking for a trash can for what? Vomit is everywhere. Keep doing what you're doing, brother man. You got it. It's everywhere. And so now I'm trying to get him into the shower to cool him down because I realized you've overheated. Can't get him off the floor. So I'm like, I'm getting ready to call 911. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, no, do not call 911. Sidebar. Can y'all stop thinking about what the hospital bill is going to cost, and I don't want them in my pockets. Now, so at that point, I guess I knew he was okay because he didn't calculated an ambulance. He didn't calculated all of this, not wanting to spend this money. Oh my God. So I'm like, listen, what? So we going, bottom line, we get him cleaned up. He had these shallow breaths. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, this isn't, oh God. Morning comes.
Well, no, you got to go through the night. The night was horrific.
Well, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I know. She got him left the room, y'all.
Because he wouldn't go to the hospital. And I'm like, and
she
I'm
left
sitting.
me in the room by myself.
I did.
She left me in the room by myself.
I did.
And
okay, but before you say that, because everybody know how much I love this man. Yeah, I left you in the room, but I'm in the living room. Yeah, because then I would go in and I'm listening. Okay, he alive, but I'm sorry. At this point, you don't want help. So you don't want my help either.
I was in severe pain. I really was. I mean, vomiting, my I was heaving and nothing was coming out, and it was hurting. I mean, my stomach was hurting real bad just from heaving and then I started cramping.
Oh, that's what part I'm waiting on you.
Yeah, then I started cramping.
So I hadn't left him, y'all. I went and got the spray magnesium, and I'm rubbing his body down. So I can't unsee what I saw, all right? I literally, when the cramp hit his leg, he's like, right here. But me, this is me, because he was being mummified in front of me. That means every ligament, every tendon on his leg, I didn't even know he had a muscle coming around on the side the way that he did. All moisture was gone. He looked like he was freaking mummified. That's why he cramped so. I saw, okay, like on your hand where I saw everything. And then his toes, I had to try and push them back. Everything locked up. And I'm doing this. I'm like, oh, I got to call 911. I got to call 911. No, I'm going to be okay, G. I'm going to be okay.
You got to pump me. Yeah, you had to pump me with electrolytes. And I knew I had depleted everything out of my body. So, my attitude was they're just going to pump me with liquids. I can do that myself. And probably not at the rate at which they could have done it. But, it happened. And I didn't go.
Okay. So what led him to go then? When he got up that next morning, came out of the bathroom, it looked like somebody took a straw and blew into his navel. And everything, I had never seen his body distorted like this.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at him like, you good with that? And you know, it's one of those. It's going down. Just give it a couple of days. So he drinking now. He got them electrolytes. They going down. Next morning he get up.
It did.
He talking about it's going down.
It was, but not fast enough, you know. And I knew that we had a couple of cruises coming up, and so I had to make a pimp decision. I really did. I had to make a pimp decision. I think I better go to the hospital because
it's not going down.
It's not going down fast enough.
Wait, so he comes, he says, all right, go ahead and make me, no, he wasn't going to the hospital. He said, make me a doctor's appointment, see our primary care physician. And I said, okay. He said, make it for tomorrow. And I'm thinking to myself, you really pushing this on out, aren't you, brother man? So we get into the doctor's office.
This actually happened on the 30th, so we're talking like 5 days.
5 days later.
5 days after the initial event.
Right.
So this is where we're working from. So the numbers that we're going to show you
is 5 days later. Can't even imagine.
I can't imagine what it was the day of. Yeah, I don't know. They probably.
I did threaten him.
Yeah.
So let's put this on record. If you do this crap again, I hear the thump. I'm just calling 911. And they gonna find you butt naked on the floor, vomit everywhere. They gonna see what I saw, cause you gonna stop this.
No,
well, it's fixed now. All right, let's get to the numbers.
All right, so there are several markers. I think I want to identify maybe 4 of them. So the markers I'm gonna start with were actually measured on July 30th, my initial visit to my primary care. And then, you know, subsequent days up to August 1st, which was my discharge day from the hospital. And then my final number will be August 21st. We're going to show you this.
Okay, hold on. So we go to the...
Wait a minute. So I'm just going to give you, my initial number and then my number 3 weeks later. Mm-hmm. And when we show this on the screen, you can freeze the screen and look at the number.
Well, I don't have to freeze it. I'm finna put it right now across our face. Go.
All right. So let's talk about the total CK, which is your creatine kinase. Kinase, I think, is the way you pronounce it. This number is typically between 38 and 200 units per liter. On the initial day at the primary care, I think they thought it was an error, and they said we need to retake it, is what I read in the notes. But it had a number of 42,670.
There was no way.
Remind you, it was supposed to be less than 200. So they thought they had a bad test, kind of basically, right? But no, they didn't. And again, this number should be less than 200. So I'm just going to jump all the way to 3 weeks later. That number is at 290. So I'm talking stage 5 kidney failure. I was at stage 5 kidney failure on July 30th. And as of
July 25th.
Yeah, well, actually probably worse than that. Yeah, July 25th. And then as of August 21st, that number is now 290. Now, the other one is the creatinine. That number should be between 0.72 and 1.25 milligrams per deciliter. On the initial day, my number was 7.15. And then again, 1.25 is where it should be. And then on 8/21, 3 weeks later, I'm at 1.59. So we can see these numbers are beginning to trend in the right direction. This is very promising. Let's talk about the BUN number, which kind of measures the nitrogen in the blood system. That should be between 8 and 20 milligrams per deciliter. On that initial day, I was at 118. And by the 21st, 3 weeks later, I'm at 21. So I'm still slightly elevated, but again, you can see the trend is in the right direction. The EGFR number should be greater than 60. And this number is really, it's a calculation basically. And on the 30th of July, that number measured 8.1, and 8.1 is actually stage 5. Stage 5 is defined as being less than 15 milliliters. and I was at 8.1. But looking at the chart, you can see that stage 5. Looking at the chart, you can see 3 weeks later, I'm at 49.2. I'm still not out of the woods, but I moved from stage 5 to stage 2. And that was as of last week. So I think things are still progressing and trending in the right direction. I am excited about actually going back to the doctor now and getting the blood work done again. And I've held off on going to a nephrologist immediately because my numbers are trending in the right direction. So we're going to keep an eye on it and go back to my primary care and see if she can do some more blood work. If she can, I'm just going to try and pay for it myself and get it done before I actually go to a nephrologist. I really want to see where I am before I indulge.
Spend more money. Yeah, we right back to where we were at the beginning. But this one I'm willing to work with. That's where we're going to leave this video. We're going to do a video. I won't be in that video. It's going to be him and Laura, where they really break this down. And the only reason why we're pushing it like this, because see, it doesn't matter if you're carnivore or not. These are things that everyday people, I'm listening now to people doing yard work. Yeah. All right. That sound has been going. I didn't hear them take a break to drink water. We're taking for granted, right? And causing extra harm on our body organs. That's unnecessary. Hydrate yourself. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Stop thinking that the food is going to do it and all of that. And then the excessive heat. That's not what we were designed for. Like I said, they talk about the elderly, the homeless. When you're out baking in the sun, when you're sunbathing for an extremely long period, and you just constantly caking on sunscreen, trying to get a little bit more, caking it on. Okay, forget a skin cancer. What are you doing to your insides organ, Mr. and Mrs. Lobster?
Yeah. That's good, and I totally agree. And the saving grace for me, my doctor even said it, was my eating habit, my lifestyle of food intake, being a carnivore, really had a tremendous impact, I believe, on my fast track to recovery. And take it for what it's worth. I believe that had I not been on this diet, there would definitely be a different situation right now. So I'm excited. I feel good. Still got, I'm still not out of the woods, but I'm trending in the right direction. So I'm excited about that.
Okay, so I kind of snickered a little bit because something happened to you that all the men gonna line up trying to get me, huh? They gonna want to sit in your seat
for the money I left you. Yeah, right.
You know me. I don't want a dime.
Yeah.
I want him. Until next time. He's here, y'all.
Bye.
He's here.
Bye.
When this happens and you have all these impurities spilling into your system, if you're doing anything that causes your body temperature to rise. This even happens in children who have high temperatures. That causes vasodilation. So that is opening and relaxing your blood vessels, which allows more stuff to go through there. Problem is, that's overloading those kidneys that are trying to filter out everything that's coming to them. When you open it up, it's like turning your faucet all the way on instead of it just dripping like it should be. So then you have a mass overflow of all of these impurities trying to come in to be filtered, which is another reason the kidneys are like, whoa, we can't handle any more of this. So that's another thing that happens with rhabdomyolysis in the body. It could be just skin cells, it could be fat cells, it could be muscle cells. Most of the time, the damage is caused when it is muscle cells. So we have skeletal muscle, which the test to see that would be CK, MB would be for the muscle cells. If you're looking for MM, that is going to, sorry, MM is the muscle cells. And then the MB is going to be your heart muscle. And then there is the BB, which is the brain, just so we have those straight. So, what causes rhabdomyolysis? There are several things that can do that. It can be from extreme hot weather. So, like those road construction people you see working outside, farmers, things like that, that work in extreme heat. If they're not hydrating and getting rid of um, the breakdown of these tissues um, on a daily basis throughout their day, they will have a buildup of this. Another thing that I've seen personally is where people fall and have like a crushing injury or a car accident where the steering wheel hits the chest and you have so many of those cells rupture. Being burned in a fire is another one. I did have somebody I knew who did extreme saunas, had never told me she was having any issues, went to an outdoor event where they got into little stone huts and did saunas out there, and she passed away in that hut, which it was later determined it was rhabdomyolysis. So, another thing that some people will do is they're not avid exercisers and they pick, excuse me, a warm day, they go outside and they do intense, crazy amount of running, or somebody will weight lift for the first time and they just go overboard. That's going to break down a lot of those cells. When that happens, those cells that break down, you have potassium, sodium, magnesium, you have all of the stuff that's inside your cells, all your electrolytes. Um, you have a breakdown, which is like creatinine. So that is one of the tests that they can do is creatinine, BUN. These are kidney tests and liver. It can show liver issues if your BUN is too high. So they can test for this to see if you have what they call rhabdomyolysis. So those cells do not fit through the little areas in the kidneys to filter out. Your kidneys are a filter, plus they do some other items, but the main part that they do is they filter out these impurities and break down products of the body. So when you break down all these ruptured cells and you have these larger pieces, they cannot get through the filtration process, so they block it up. So what can happen repeated times of that can lead to chronic kidney disease, where the disease, and I'm not sure, I'm not going to say that even chronic kidney disease is not reversible, because I truly believe with the proper lifestyle, it is reversible. Um, but if you do this and your body is able to fight it off, you can get what's called acute kidney injury, which you will see some of the tests that they'll do will be creatinine, BUN. They will do the CKs, which is checking creatinine kinase, which is a breakdown of protein in the body. So, on average, I would say if you are a carnivore, some of these numbers are going to be a little bit elevated because the numbers are set to the people who eat the standard American diet. Carnivores do not eat that way. So we're going to have more protein in the urine. We're going to have more protein. That is absolutely normal. When you see these numbers elevate um, and you have symptoms, then that is when it is time to seek medical professional help. So, some of those symptoms can be severe muscle fatigue. It could be massive joint swelling. It could be nausea, vomiting, fainting, rapid heartbeat, irregular heartbeat, even shortness of breath. I have seen with this. Most of the time, I see the wanting to pass out and just feeling generally very poisoned, like you're just being poisoned. So those are the symptoms. Of course, most of the time, the best way for treating that is just IV hydration, but you still need to be seen by a physician. So, like I said, most of the time, this happens due to, working out in the heat, overheating yourself in saunas, hot water, tubs, baths, whatever it is, being outside in extreme heat, massive weightlifting, stuff like that. So if you have done any of those things and you start to feel, the weakness, the muscle pain, especially in the kidney area, but it doesn't always have to be in the kidney area. Um, if you feel any of that, and I mean, really, even blurred vision, very dark urine, or trouble urinating is also a sign that there's something going on with the kidneys. So if you have any of those signs, you definitely need to seek medical attention. The other thing I would say, with our medical system the way it is, especially with men, I know of two other people that had this condition that were treated for prostate problems and actually underwent a surgery to fix their prostate that was not the issue. Um, so you have to be your own advocate or take somebody with you, and you need to advocate for your health. You need to ask questions. So when Frederick had this happen, G had reached out to me and was like, "What questions do I need to ask? What tests do I need? What do I need? And so she had that information so that when she went back to the hospital to see Frederick, she was able to ask for those things. Um, and they ran those tests, and thank God, and so this is something that is absolutely reversible, as I said, whether I believe chronic kidney disease or acute kidney disease. But the sooner you get there and get started on treatment of IV therapy, which is just normal saline, is what they're going to generally give you, unless you have some other issues going on. Um, and then you're going to have testing, routine testing for a while until those numbers go down. Now, the last two people that I know ate standard American diet, and it took months, and I mean several months, before they were back to normal. And I wouldn't even say they were back to normal. They were back to what the lab said normal, but the way they felt. Frederick, his labs look amazing already. He is very much, I mean, it's amazing how far he's already came. And just within 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, his numbers were already trending down greatly. So I do say that thank God he was doing the carnivore diet, because I think had he been doing the standard American diet, I've never seen a CK number as high as his was. So I do 100% believe in my heart that had he not been doing this type of eating, I think it would have been a different outcome. Now, granted, he may have had worse symptoms and went to the doctor sooner. I don't know that. But I do believe that that helped. And I'm very proud of the medical professional. They had a doctor who told them that the only reason that he was doing as well as he was is because he had been doing, the carnivore diet. So kudos to him for having an open mind and being open to knowing that there are other things out there besides just the standard American diet. So if you know of anybody in the healthcare system, when a burn victim comes in, they have to be extremely careful the way they treat them, because you can't just give them the regular fluids wide open like you would think would be necessary to do, because of their cells being damaged at that point. You have to go very slow as to what you do. There's different types of solutions that are used in IVs in order to rehydrate the body, but you have to wait till those cells are closed again and not ruptured. So the ruptured ones have to get out of there, but then you have to rehydrate the rest of them.